Yeah. Well, because I am here today. Well, I am definitely here today because I'm here to learn about the humanities and to punch Nazis, and they just defunded the humanities. It's Friday, you bastards.
The internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic book community. Comic creators and comic fans, tonight you are seen, heard, recognized, because comics are for everyone. Live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world, this is the Not Near Mint Show.
Welcome to the Not Near Mint Show, and forgive us for that opening. It's always cold because it's not very funny. We want to thank everybody for coming out to watch the show tonight. It is the 21st of March. Want to say hi to Miracleman and to myself and anybody else that's watching. But we're going to just dive right into the top 10 comics of the week. And this is the third week of March, so we'll just get right to it. So as this usually works, this is going to be based off the 27,000 comics that I have behind me. I use CLZ along with CovrPrice. I hit that value update button. It spits out a list, and that list becomes the top 10 comics of the week. So
real quick, before you get into that, I got to ask, Michael, can you offer me a great introductory APR on this lightly used Kia?
It's funny because I get it.
It's funny because it's true.
All right, we're going to start with the bottom 5 comics here after all that. And, if you're selling cars well enough with a suit as nice as Michael's here, I mean, it is a nice suit.
Look at that. Man's getting shitty on stream, and look at.
This isn't Jig's Kingdom. We wait until like 10 o'clock-ish for that. Or if you're not on screen. All right, so these are the bottom 5 comics. These are the ones that drop the most. This is number 10. It's Fantastic Four. Number 4. It's the first Silver Age appearance of Namor the Submariner. Somebody paid for a 1.8 good minus condition raw copy from 1962. $1,050. It is down $224 this week. Now, I also want to apologize for last week, how I was going so fast, a mile a minute, because it seemed like I had so much coffee, and that's because I did. So I wound up screwing up the entire top 10. We're going to try and do a little better this week. So here's number 9.
Have grace to forgive yourself and to not worry about fucking it up again, because who cares? You do a great job anyway.
Oh, thank you. You're a man after my own heart.
You do the worst of jobs.
And had of Lady Fantastic been here, I would have called this Journey into the Mystery, because I can't help myself. But yes, Journey into Mystery 86. This is number 9. It's the second cameo appearance of Odin. First time they call him Odin, and it's also the first appearance of the Tomorrow Man. Apparently nobody really cares all that much, except for the people that have been collecting these as a run, and came out in 1962. They got a fine condition 6.0 raw copy for $367. It is down $133.
That was a good price.
That's about actually what I paid for this. Pretty close.
There you go.
Number 8. Famous cover for a character not many people know who they are. She was supposed to be in the Aquaman 2 movie, and that, of course, never happened. This is the first appearance of Dolphin. Everybody knows this green cover that's a Silver Age fan, but this came out here in 1968, and for a 6.0 fine condition copy, somebody got this for $169, down $59. And again, this is just based off of one sale in the course of a week. Now, the next one, it's not that surprising, because during the entirety of the pandemic, this book was hyped up a lot, and it has also dropped a lot. This is the 2014 first appearance of Spider-Punk. We remember him from the Edge of Spider-Verse movies, but there's not going to be a third one. Not for quite some time, because they started making it and then they stopped making it. And now they started over from scratch. And how famous was that Dolphin cover? It's that famous.
Yep. And I also wanted to show off the fact that I bought my beautiful copy here. It's still in the original Mylar bag.
Oh,
for
nice.
$20.
Wow.
Look at that. $20. It's backwards. That doesn't help.
$5 foot long.
Five.
Well, this first Spider-Punk here, this was a book that did come out in 2014. Yes, he was in the movie, but we're not going to be seeing him for a while. So for a VF Plus copy 8.5 raw, somebody paid $42, which I still think is a little excessive for something that's basically volume 3. It might be volume 4. I might have been a mistake there. But yeah, $42, down 35. People were paying over $60 for this just a few weeks ago. But this next one, not as popular.
It is volume 4.
It is volume 4. Okay, so I should have made that update.
That's
When
all right.
I was looking at CLZ, it was saying volume 3, but then when I went to go pull the books, I'm looking at volume 4, and I know that I had to go through a lot of effort to put everything in its volume order. So what do I know? Apparently nothing. All right, this number 6, people recognize this
Whoa.
as the low print risque Mary Jane cover with the curves in the back, we'll call
Nice.
it. But this was not recalled. This isn't even a key. This is just a pretty looking cover where the interior is basically garbage. Because the
Can I
entire
show you
series,
the variant to that cover? That makes no sense.
oh yeah, like the Transformers one for issue 1.
That's funny.
All those covers look like the one you're showing, and then they did a Transformer variant for issue 1.
Yeah, so this series, all it is one giant advertisement. It was only really supposed to be about 5 issues, but they made it into 6 because the 6 is just one giant advertisement. It might as well just be called Marvel Previews. But the first issue, they kind of spoofed Smallville because they had some mutant on a cross, whatever. This was never really rare. Yeah, sure, it did come out back in 2003 when the comic market wasn't quite where it is today. Marvel just got through their bankruptcy, so nothing was really being printed over about 40,000 copies back in the day. And for something this far into the run, chances are it probably didn't even hit the 15,000 mark. So as a result, it is down $30, but somebody paid $40. And on average, most people get this for about 50, 60. So for 40, I guess not so bad. Well, those were the ones that were at the bottom that went really far down, the wildest price swings. And now we're going to do the comic spikes, the ones that tended to go upwards this week. And again, this is just based off of one sale. Now, surprisingly enough, I just picked this book up. And this classic Neil Adams cover where Superman's fighting himself, this thing came out in 1971, and for a very fine minus, 7.5 raw, somebody paid $95, up 24.
Wow.
I got this last week for $15.
I think I paid $3 for mine.
Okay. You win the internets today. But yeah, that's number 5. So that's the one that went up the least. And of course, when I print out this list, or click out the list, I guess, it gives me a lot more books than what I wind up showing you. I'm just trying to not repeat myself, because sometimes week after week, a book might just keep going up. Those I'll report on, but if it's something that was down one week and up the next week, I might just leave it out for a little while. That's just a little heads up to y'all that, hey, I thought this one book was supposed to go up a lot this week. I mean, it's not like I'm selling the shit. This is just to help you all, so that on Sunday night when you're looking on eBay to go, hey, what should I buy? Because I got a nice little paycheck and it looks like the stock market was down, so I don't have to really compete with many people. So should I buy this? Well, it seems down, so the answer is yes. Or it's up. I guess I can wait. In any case, speaking of which, the number 4 book is Werewolf by Night 32. Hey, Kenneth Bird is in the house. Hey, good to see you, man. So, first appearance of Moon Knight, the Moon Knight number 1 from 1980s. That one has already been going up, up, up because after the show it didn't crater, but it's not going to have a sequel apparently. And it was about a TV show called Moon Knight, about Moon Knight, where a character who fights as Moon Knight for about maybe the length of time that it would take me to talk about number 4 on the list. So number 4 on the list, a very fine copy, 8.0 raw, came out in 1975. Somebody paid $825. It is it is up 47. Now already a book in this high a grade, when this show came out, was going for at least $1,300 or more. So showing you that the market has been down, you can get things at a lower cost. Don't let anybody tell you, hey, you can't just walk in here and get some high-priced book. It's like, no, I can't. That's why eBay was invented. So if a shop wants to overcharge, that's really going to be on them because these are plentiful. They're not rare. And Werewolf by Night, while not the highest selling title at Marvel back in 1975, it still had enough of a print run where, $825 for a VF, not bad, and probably a decent price to pick it up for. Now, number 3, I'm going to take a little bit of credit for being number 3 on the list because a little over a week ago, I showed this book on Blue Sky. And it's an esoteric book that not many people know who she is. But number 3 on the list is Star Spangled War Stories number 84. This is the 4th appearance of Mademoiselle Marie.
87.
What did I say?
84.
84 is her first appearance. Her 4th is in 87. You are correct. Sorry about that. I said I was going to make a mistake, and there it is.
Get him out of the way early.
Explain to Miracleman what the word esoteric means.
I'm pretty sure it's butthole, right? Butthole. This is a butthole character.
I don't.
Fucking Canadians. Go ahead, Rob.
So for the people that just want to know a slight definition of the world, here I'm going to go ahead and mansplain this to you. So esoteric is it's information not a lot of people know about. It's a small community. It's very niche. So when we're talking about comic books in total, everybody knows who Spider-Man is. No one's going to say, hey, that's a deep cut, Amazing Fantasy 15. No one's going to say that. No one's going to say, Batman, who's that character? Was that like noir stuff from the 40s? Everybody knows who Batman is. Nobody knows who Mademoiselle Marie is unless you're a war comic book collector. But she was famous back in the era, despite the fact she only had a run of about 8 issues from 84. The cover she was on from 84 through 89, and then 90 was the beginning of the war that time forgot, where it's dinosaurs fighting the American military. And that lasted 91, and then she was done. And then she made another appearance in like Brave and the Bold during the during Sergeant Rock's issue. And she made a couple appearances here and there, like issue 115 of Our Army at War. But otherwise, she was just gone. And it was during Greg Rucka's run that we figured out that this isn't a person, Mademoiselle Marie. I mean, she is a person. She's Millie. The name Mademoiselle Marie has gone back all the way since the Revolutionary War. So the title has been around for a long time. But this thing is up this week, came out in 1959, and for a 6.0 fine condition raw copy, somebody paid $208. It is up.
That's ridiculous.
51.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But the funny thing,
appearance.
This is her 4th appearance, not even her 1st.
Right. That's ridiculous. Also, you know how esoteric this character is? She doesn't even show up in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I think she does.
Shut up.
One page.
Shut up. Actually, you know what? You're right. You know what she doesn't show up? Marvel's Contest of Champions.
That you are correct, sir. But when we're talking rare, the issue 84, that one I can talk about because I did look that up. On the CGC census, there's only 112 copies on the CG census. Wow. Total. There's only one 9.0 and nothing better than that. 190. Now you get a little further on in the series, and I'm sure there's much less. Don't take me at my word. Do look that up because I've been known to be wrong.
What?
But that's number 3. Up 47 at 800. Up 51 at $208. Lordy. Now, number 2, I did a retrospective today on Blue Sky. This is the first appearance of Batgirl in Detective Comics 359. First Barbara Gordon, my favorite comic book character of all time. Also, first appearance of the Silver Age Killer Moth, but no one really cares about this. This is my Doug copy. For people that don't know what that is, Doug. Some idiot kid wrote his name on the cover a long ass time ago. Well, in any case, yeah, Green Lantern is my favorite, but I like Batgirl more. And for reasons, I broke my neck and I was in a wheelchair for the better part of a year. So her story is one of being a strong female protagonist, as well as a character that was assassinated, and some redemption because she did become Oracle. But this came out back in 1967, and for a VG minus raw copy 3.5, somebody paid $423. It is up $124. No particular reason, because we know there was a whole movie that the WB made and then shelved and then subsequently maybe not deleted. But everybody loves Barbara. I know I do. And I do love Green Lantern too, but I mean, that's willpower, and this is real willpower. She was in a wheelchair. She came back from it. Most people didn't like that part, though. Now, the number 1 book.
Go fuck yourself, Doug.
Yeah, Doug. Fucking Doug.
Fucking Doug.
There was a whole bunch of all-star comics for auction, and they all had the guy's name on the front cover, and I was like, oh, I can't even do it.
Yeah. Are we talking about the all-star comics from like the 40s?
Yeah, the old ones. Yeah, they were on Heritage. They look beautiful, except for this guy's name on each and every one of them. I'm not going to spend $500 on a comic to have Charles Lingard on my comic cover.
Locally,
I kind of get it.
We had a very high grade collection of silver that is just all over the place in all kinds of shops locally. And it was a girl's collection. And she wrote her name in very perfect penmanship in cursive right on the front of every one of her comics. But the copies are all like 6.5s or better.
Damn.
Everything's a high grade Silver Age book except for this young lady's name. And it was like Margaret Allwood. Like it wasn't like, Sally. Like it was her whole name. It was long. Yeah.
If her name had been Stan Lee, maybe.
Oh, what are we looking at here?
Oh, geez.
This is just a guy who wrote his name in every issue of Star Wars that I picked up from the original 77 run. And it's a lot of times he wrote the initials like in the corner box, but he definitely wrote his name in every issue. And one of the ways he did it was if there was an advertisement, pay $4 and get 300 army soldiers or whatever, he would write, yep. So he never ripped these out because they're all still intact, but that's where he chose mostly to put his name was in one of the advertisements. So in case like his comic got lost or something, he had his name and address, which I just find hysterical because you guys remember in Marvel, and I assume DC, I never read any DC, you used to print the names and the addresses of people who sent in letters, which like in today's society, you would never think of doing that because, some idiot's going to get upset by something and go on a rampage. But yeah, I just find it really interesting that the way they chose to put their name and address was by filling out the advertisements.
I exist. See me.
Yeah.
Oh, really? AC Wood. All right. So now we're getting down to the number 1 book after this. And yeah, it's always nice to see how other people have their books. I'm okay with a little bit of writing on the cover because I did see something on eBay that I was kind of considering. It was a Rifleman number 10. The classic cover where a child is carrying this old man's wood. Yeah, $250, but somebody had their name like written on the upper piece of the wood. I could have lived with that, but I didn't want to pay $250. Well, in any case, here is the number 1 book, which kind of doesn't make a lot of sense considering the number 9 book dropped 133. This next book is up 186. And that book is Journey into Mystery 107. This is the first appearance of Grey Gargoyle. Came out in 1964, and for a very fine plus condition copy, a very higher graded copy for this, somebody paid $300, which is actually a little closer to what I paid for this, but up 186 for a book that came out in 1964. And this is probably for those that are trying to collect Jack Kirby comic books, which I'm going to be showing a Golden Age Jack Kirby and Joe Simon book a little bit later tonight. But these are the top 10 books that came out this week. And this is just a little bit of a reminder that, these comics here is just this list is just to help collectors and readers determine if they should look for a particular book or a series online or wait 6 weeks. And if it's still up, wait 6 months. And if it's still up, might as well just get it because that sumbitch ain't coming down. And those were the top 10 books for this week. And I think maybe it's about time to start, showing some comics that we got during the course of the week.
Yeah. Somebody do that.
Okay, I'll go. Guys, stop it.
While you're
when I get silent, it means somebody should talk.
When you start showing your comics, try not to sign us up for a really good interest rate on a home loan.
I'm classing up the place, guys. Come on.
You got to do one of these. I ain't getting no respect around here.
I don't have classy comics, so I gotta look classy. It's my classiest one. I love the guy. I love what he stands for. No.
Isn't he Canadian?
Canadian, but I loved his painted covers. I love this is one of my favorite all-time comic book runs is High Society. Was I being I'm sorry.
No, that's Dave Sim. He's the dick.
Some great comic creators have nothing but really high. Wow, that's pretty cool.
I think I think you can see it. There's a little Cerebus there.
Yeah, and a little autograph next to it.
Yeah,
very cool.
I'm sorry, I got to do that.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert.
Earned. Yeah.
No,
it's not just a signature. You have a remark on the first page too.
What's a remark?
That's a little drawing, a drawing.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay. So I'll go through these a little fast. I really love this character. I'm probably the only one who loves this character. I don't know. Maybe there's other people. But I really loved when he came out, his sense of humor. I loved how he transformed to Ambush Bug. So Keith Giffen helped create him. In the first, if you don't know him, he first appeared in DC Presents. I think it was the Doom Squad issue. Sorry, Doom Patrol issue. And he was kind of a semi-serious villain. But then over Keith's sense of humor, I think, won out over time, and he became sillier and sillier as the ages went on. And so I saw a bunch of them in a comic shop for cheap. So I went and got it. I don't know if they'll ever be reprinted. It would make a nice collection, I think, but I don't know. This is a homage to a famous cover.
Flash 123.
Yep. Son of Ambush Bug. Some of the humor I don't think stands up well today. It was a little crazy and it was a little on the nose of the time, but it was fun. It broke the fourth wall, probably the fifth and sixth wall at times. But yeah,
Deadpool didn't invent that in comics. I said Deadpool didn't invent that in comics.
No, he didn't.
But yeah, for humor, anytime that you're using pop culture references, that will date yourself and it will become less funnier as the years go by.
And a Christmas issue. Now, another run I managed to pick up, again, one of my longtime favorites. I probably won't get these in order. I don't know if can you see anything in the back wall? You probably can't see them, but I've got some beautiful limited editions of these characters. But these were the comic books based on it. Mike Mignola did this, Fafford and the Grey Mouser. Again, it's not characters that have ever, I think, been adapted for film or TV. I just love them, the interplay. I think they're ripe to do it. They're basically two kind of swashbuckling heroes from Swords and Fantasy, just ripped from it. And the art's amazing. Howard Chaykin did the writing duties. I think he did an amazing job adapting the stories, because I've read the real stories, the original stories, many times by Fritz Lieber. And yeah, it's just a beautiful collection of two of my favorite characters from Swords and Fantasy. Then I picked up some random Justice League. Nice Neil Adams cover.
Great cover.
First appearance of Hawkman, obviously.
Oh, I need that book. You know, that Hawkman book.
First appearance of got him to drink from the mug. Dr. Light.
Oh, damn. It is the first Dr. Light. I was going to get on that.
He didn't first appear in Adam, I don't think. Yeah, probably.
No,
Adam.
That's great.
He's there. Damn.
Not great condition, but I love.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And a nice little cover. I always like it when you can get them all on the cover, nicely posed.
Gotta catch them
That's
all.
great.
And I think that's
Great
it. Yeah.
early league. You know, the
That was all my
prices on
stuff.
those, I'm a firm believer the prices on those are way lower than they should be. Those
Like the Justice
those
League?
books, yeah, early Justice League still very approachable, very affordable. You can get high grade copies of it. That's not going to last forever, man. You know, if you are thinking about Justice League, you should get them because eventually
Before
it's
the
gonna flip.
Superman movie. After the
Yes.
Superman movie, they're going to start getting like Marvel during the MCU early days.
Yeah, sure are. Sure
Yeah,
are.
no,
Who's
I
going
agree.
next? Tacoma?
There's always some good DC ones you can
Sure.
get for a good deal.
Right.
All right. So my apologies if I showed any of these last week. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I go to Half Price about every other day. It's a weird place, man. I've brought like a stack of comics like this, right? And they've been like, yeah, we can offer you $4.75 today. Like, I have no idea how you figured that amount. Right? And I bought a stack in like this today, and they're like, we can offer you $38.85. I cut them off, and I don't even want to hear. I just like say I accept. I don't want to hear how little you're giving me. I know it's a shit, right? You're a great place. You hire diverse workers. You made a statement on Instagram about fuck you, Trump. Basically, we still are going to hire diverse workers. So I support your store, but don't pretend I appreciate how much you're giving me for my comics because I know it's crap. All right, statement over. What else was I going to say? I don't know. It's just so comics. This is supposedly like the big indie hit of last year. I'll take it for $1. There are a lot of Star Wars that I'm like, I have 9 boxes of Star Wars. I don't need that particular issue. But when it's $1, I'll take it.
Nice.
When it's got one of these on the bottom, I'll take it.
Nice.
You need
Yes,
it, Rob?
please. I think so. I definitely
Last
don't.
Guy Gardner. Oh, wow. It's the Last Guy Gardner. That might be like a $3,000 book. So we'll have to talk.
Or 3.
Nicholas, see if she'll go out again. She didn't poop before.
Don't poop inside.
Behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. Behind
Ooh.
the-
Oh, yeah. I need that.
Oh, that's pretty.
Check out this cover.
Jerry Granadetti.
Oh my God! So he did 2 covers, apparently.
That's
I
gray
assume
wash.
he did this one because it's just like the other one he did. So I was looking through Key Collector because I don't know how much about this. I don't know much about this, but the earlier one he did, like 6 issues before this or something, is considered a key because it says artwork by Jerry Granadetti. This one is the first appearance of Big Al, Little Al, and some other person. I don't know much about it, but I said I am not leaving that. That just looks really cool. It's 10 center.
I'm a war collector. I will throw you money for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look what I got it for, right? It's
Whoa.
and so even in low condition, Key Collector has this as a $35 book. So
Yeah.
we'll figure something out. They put out some more Aquaman from that collection, and I'm still
Nice.
got to clean and press them. But I'll definitely show you, Michael. I know you were interested in buying some of them. But the reason I got this one, this is issue 50 and 51. In the back of these issues is a follow-up story by a gentleman some of you may or may not know, named Neil Adams.
Who?
Wrote the backup stories in these. I don't know if you can see his name. Where is it? Right there above my finger. I can never do this. Where's my finger? There we go. So
Yeah, that Neil Adams is going places.
yeah, he's probably one to watch. 1970, so it's still Silver Age, even though it's 15 cents. I just thought it was cool. $15 a piece. In their condition, that's probably like close to what they're worth, but getting ones with Neil Adams. Oh, there you go. So you probably don't need that one.
No, this is a graphic novel.
Oh, with the same cover. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not officially revoking all of your nerd cred. You just referred to that collected edition of previously printed stories as a graphic novel.
No.
What should I have
said? What should I have said?
Oh my fucking God. What did you just say? Kick him off this fucking show right now.
What'd I do? How can I learn if you don't beat it into me?
We'll discuss this afterwards in ritual abuse session. Don't you worry.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on, but here is issue 51 with the continuation of Neil Adams and his young comic writing career. So there we go. Other things I picked up, I'm trying to collect this Guardians run, the Abnett run. So just grabbed a random issue. There's like a 50% chance that I already have this. I just didn't bother to check. Got that Judge Dredd.
Banger. That's a
I collect Christmas issues, and something about like, I don't know, just the corner box and the lettering on the title. I like these old Judge Dredds from Harris, or is it Harris or Quality?
Quality, which by the way is today's Titan.
There you go. Last Miss Marvel, issue 23, except for the 2 stories that continued in other issues after that.
Nice.
2 Wicked and Divine issues that I was missing, 43 and 45. And then this one, not quite one of my white whales, but Teen Titans, number 8, July
Newsy
2017.
Bang,
Sorry. July 2017. Apparently, they went up to October 2017 with DC newsstands. So,
and I think that's a combo pack as well as a newsstand.
That's what I'm on the hunt for, is the 2017 October newsstands. Picked up a Batgirl 50 2016 newsstand, or 2016. Not the actual last of the new 52 Batgirls, but close to it.
Close.
How is she walking around? Rob
And
said
how is
she was
she
paralyzed.
And how is she suddenly like 15 again?
Yeah.
Just another 2011 Marvel. Marvel only went up to like 2014, I think. I kind of have always dug this cover, and I found it in the 2002 newsstand.
That's a good one.
Kurt Busiek on Avengers, 2010 newsstand, 2000 something newsstand. Then these next 2 I picked up for Mr. Miracle, Dead World. Sorry, not Mr. Miracle, Miracleman. Something I don't know much about, but I love that cover and that black. And I'm like, I showed it to you, and you're like, yep, that's up my alley. And then this one,
great. Love it.
Look at that.
Love it.
So shoot me your address and text at some point. And then I got this for Caroline, a little G. Willow Wilson signature on Sandman the Dream. This is and Simon Spurrier and Nick Robles, and I think Bilquist Evely did a lot of the covers. This is actually a really really good run. Sandman Universe is taking Neil Gaiman's version of Sandman and other authors and writers and artists running with it. And I like the Waking Hours a lot. It was kind of cool. So there's my first stack of what I found this week at half price.
Hey, you know what I like most about all those Sandman offshoots? None of the people that wrote them raped anybody.
That's sweet.
That we
Miracleman?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Let's start off with something a little bit different. I don't think I showed these. I'm pretty sure I didn't show these, but I don't remember where I was. I saw them. I think it was like an antique shop, but if I saw these, I had to grab them. This is Mad Magazine number 226 with the parody of Superman 2.
Do I have that one?
The best of Supermans because it's our Phantom Zone criminals
Yeah.
movie. Just cellophane S on the chest. Richard Donner's entire vision being fucked up and turned into a comedy. Here is the second best Superman movie ever, Superman 3's parody in Mad Magazine 243. Now, why is it the second best? Because of evil Superman. That's why. None of the rest of the movie was any good. The evil Superman shit was top tier. I will defend that movie to the day I die. And then they didn't have any of the others, but they did have, look at that. They did have this one, The Superman Returns. So I got all three of those. I think they're like $3 a piece or something. It was a pretty good deal. Pretty good price. And then a couple of oddball things this week, right? Like, so some common stuff. There's some Love and Rockets. Check out this. This is an Aardwolf. And you can barely see it, but there's a little areola there. I got to get the sticker off, but here's an Archie at Riverdale High bikini cover. Here is, oh, look at this. Perhaps you've heard of this gentleman by the name of Mobius. There we go, and that a beauty right there. I got this.
I still hear people calling him Morbius.
I know, it drives me fucking bananas. I got this for $1. It's an Avengers number 8. I'm collecting. Giant size annual number 8. I've been collecting all of the Spectrum, Squadron Sinister, Squadron Supreme appearances. I had this one, but my copy was not as good as this $1 copy.
Oh,
clean
George
that
Perez, one of my favorites.
For $1, you never leave a Perez.
The ones usually beat to hell.
They're usually beat to hell. The giant sizes always got beat. I don't know why. Probably because people love them so much.
They were well loved and read.
Well loved comics. And then a couple of the old Wars in the Stars from the Dark Horse run. There's the Jabba tape.
I don't think I have that.
Here's an issue 2 of Shadows of the Empire.
I think you have some trading material for Tacoma.
And here's Star Wars Union. Look at this. First of all, look at this cover. Chewie and Han in a bar fight with Luke just sitting in the background laughing at him. There's Lando. Lando throwing some hands, backing his boys up. Love it. Love it.
Luke
Great
knows
cover.
they can handle it. He doesn't need to do anything.
Just so fantastic.
Or he's getting wasted. Who knows?
Just so fat. He's probably doing a little bit of both. I don't know. He was a Jedi at that point, so probably not. I don't think I showed you these. Did I show you these?
Oh,
these Thundercats.
No.
Panthro.
Thundercats. Thundercats.
Oh, Moomra.
Look at this one. Look at that homage. Thundercats.
Oh.
And finally, Thundercats.
Oh my gosh. You're such a Thundercats hoe.
I am. Speaking of, here's a Warlord of Mars number 1 with a variant cover. And Warlord of Mars number 2 with another variant cover.
What's her name? Delia? No, I'm getting
Deja Thoris.
Deja Thoris.
Here's fuck Warren Ellis, but here's a Transmet Filth of the City. This was a square bound. This is original. It's not reprints. It's not a collected edition. A collected edition or a trade would be a collection of previously printed material in a larger bound book, as opposed to an original graphic novel, which would be an original story.
What? I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Here's DC Comics Presents number 92. Look at that great cover. Isn't that pretty? For $1.
Wait, no. Who drew that? Is that Tuska? Or Heck? Is that Heck?
You know what? I don't know. Oh, wait.
If it's Don Heck. I hate Don Heck.
Sorello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Great cover, though. This is the final issue to the second volume of DN Agents. And it's so busy. It's such a busy little cover. So busy.
Much DNA over that cover.
One more Transmet. I'm trying to finish this run off. I'm getting them all for $1 a piece at the moment, so you know it's worth finishing it off. That's
More
for sure.
rapey.
You know, I can't believe
bit.
I didn't have this, but in the early aughts, I think 2000, as a matter of fact, DC did a Silver Age special with all these one-shots. And here's a Joe Kubert cover to Challengers of the Unknown. Look at that.
Because from their very inception, they've basically been unknown. I hate to
Kubert.
say it, since they were the inception of the Fantastic Four, but truly, nobody knows, much less cares about the Challengers of the Unknown, except for us esoteric collectors.
Esoteric. Flash, the fastest man alive, number 13. This is the final issue of the run, and it's the death of Bart Allen, until, of course, he comes back later.
No, don't die again.
It's adult death. I don't know. And then everybody's jizzing their jeans over these these monsters books. They're good. Don't get me wrong. But you know what else is really good? Not getting the love. Woodstake. Vampire monster book going on during Woodstock. Look at this. It's only 6 issues. There's a 0 issue. I think the final 5th issue just came out. Look at this Jimi Hendrix cover. Look at that. All right. Very similar style art. Look at this. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just as competent of a story as Monsters is.
Looks
Very
great
enjoyable.
inside.
Yeah, it's great. It's good art. It's good art. I don't hear anybody talking about this book. And if you like monsters, this is a book to pick up and read.
It's kind of like Liam Sharp working on Stonehenge, and the
Yes.
interiors are great. The covers are fantastic. The whole thing's great. Nobody's reading it.
Nobody's reading it. And last book, actually, I'm going to show you 2 more books. This one I'm going to show you. This is not a new pickup. I bought this book right when it came out, and a local Comic Con had the writer there, and he did a remark on it. Yeah, you're right. It really wasn't. This is first issue of Beavis and Butthead, and it is autographed by the writer, Rick. I think he's actually the artist too, Rick Parker, Ricco the Sicko, and the blood spray is added by him. So that's a remark cover there, right?
You're going to make me do it.
Do it.
It's where
Warning, warning, warning. Banger alert, banger alert.
That's 2 banger alerts this episode.
Wow.
And last but not least, this was my favorite pickup of the week right here. Batman number 253.
Damn, I still need that. I thought that I actually got that a while back. I went to go look through my Batman. I do not. Nice
Yeah.
pickup.
Yeah.
Kaluda
yeah.
art.
It's got a little 10-cent written on there, but other than that, it's a pretty clean, pretty nice copy, solid. It's a little bit under mid-grade, I'd say, but it's still a pretty nice copy. It's good enough for me. Now, I have a big soft spot for these old pulp heroes, and they handle this the right way. Lamont Cranston, who is the Shadow, is an old man at this point, but this is played off of the original timeline. So he was in action in the 30s, murdering criminals in the street with his twin 45s, and this is him in the 70s. And he's following Batman around, or Bruce Wayne around, because he knows Bruce is on to some criminals he's after, and he's trying to take care of them from his younger days. And this is a senior citizen, the Shadow, in this story.
Oh, nice.
I love these stories that stick to the real timelines where, the pulp heroes who were they killed a lot of people. Doc Savage, the Shadow, the Spider, G7, all those guys were super fucking violent.
I mean, Batman broke the neck of Hugo Strange.
Right. But Batman was literally lifted. A lot of his design was lifted right after Shadow. Batman originally was in Manhattan. He originally had twin 45s. He was very much the Shadow clone. So when DC got the license to print the Shadow comics, they rushed to get a story out where Kaluda drew the Shadow meeting Batman. So really, if you can find this one, this is a really great one to pick up.
Who was the Shadow's paramour? Margot Lane? Or am I remembering that wrong?
That sounds right. Margot sounds right. The Shadow girlfriend. Now, The Shadow also had some Silver Age comic appearances, but those were published by Archie, and he was treated like, Margot Lane, you're right, and he was treated like a cape and tight superhero. Those are very weird if you come across them. They're usually not very expensive because who's looking for, Archie superhero books? But very kind of campy. But the DC run, much truer to the roots, even though it's DC Big Two Comics. So.
And my question would be, do you think that because of this particular issue,
Nice.
and that's
Nice.
do you think that particular issue with the Shadow is the impetus of the Gray Ghost episode of Batman the Animated Series?
At least influenced it. Yeah.
I don't think they would have had the trademark to be able to do the Shadow, but to do
Right.
something similar, since all those stories seem to have been based on all those Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams sort of storylines from the 70s. So looking at that, I always just assumed, I don't know for fact, that was why Gray Ghost was in Batman instead of the Shadow.
Yeah.
Are we talking about DC?
Yes. These are
I
comic
will
books that are
refrain
not
from the
Marvel.
conversation because I don't have enough knowledge to add anything useful. But I'm also too tired to make a funny joke.
No worries. We're going to be wrapping up pretty soon, but Miracleman, do you have a few more?
Well, if we're gonna wrap up after your lot, I got a couple more to show, but I didn't pick them up this week. But you showed that Marvel #5. Now I don't have the first issue, but I have the first issue, but I have the lame cover. I have issue
real
2.
quick. So I see that Jigs is inside the chat.
What up,
Jigs
Jig?
will be going live in about the next, let's see here, about 20 minutes. So I guess at about 10:20, he'll be going live. So everybody check him out.
Nice. So anyway, like I was saying, there's that Marvel #2. And then you can see this comic, Marvel #3, was definitely purchased for the high quality story, Marvel #4, right? I mean, here she is fighting.
That one I don't see a lot. Number
Marvel
4.
#5, there's that booty shot. Now, this is, respectfully speaking, should be one of the best covers. It's actually one of the worst because look at the face on this young lady. So that's a different drawing. He just cut it off and slapped it on top of this. This, if you go like this, banger, right?
Yeah.
If you go like that, it's like somehow Butterface, right? Like just ruined it.
Butterface.
And then
It's
here's
like no one was going to look at the face. Really?
right. And here's the second hardest one to find. There's #7.
I still need that one.
True story. #7 is not part of the story.
There's no story. It's a big advertisement.
It's one big advertisement. Yep. They found a way to get people to pick up an ad with all their epic books. And it was by putting her in a bikini and have her act like Vanna White. And for you kids, Vanna White was a young woman that worked on a television show. And for you older kids, or even younger kids, a television is that big thing your parents have in the living room that collects dust.
I should never have given my penis a credit card.
And that's
Keep
it.
ordering these things.
Mr. Mint, after you.
Well, I think that Tacoma had a few more comics he wanted to show.
Yeah, so there was one more comic I got, but I can't show this comic without showing like a bunch of comics to explain why I got this comic. So I was just flipping through the X drawer at half price, and I found X-Men Annual 2, Nightcrawler kissing this young lady whom I don't even know who that is. Be honest with you, she's got a tattoo sleeve, so somebody who read X-Men at this time should know. But the reason why
I don't know.
The reason why I picked this up is because I collect X-Men kissing covers, going back to the classics.
Well, that makes
Moving
sense.
up
The
to-
X is a kiss when you put them on Christmas cards or birthday cards, so that makes sense.
There you go. This is one of my favorites.
that's
Jerome
nice.
Pena, man. So good.
You know, out of all the times that I've played this one little bumper, it has felt never more necessary as right now.
Yeah,
Nice.
it fits.
Are they Wait, are they kissing on that one? I'm not even counting that as a kiss.
So if they get
That's a
close,
nuzzle.
it counts. Like, I mean,
Nuzzle.
technically they're not kissing on this one, right?
Yeah, but she's grabbing his penis under.
That could be all of them. So, so Gambit's hand is just doing some weird like positioning here.
Yep. Okay. It's back in the race.
Wolvie grew a lot of muscles, and he's got his claws out, which just doesn't seem like a good idea when you're getting intimate. I like this one. He's got the height difference down.
Yeah.
Again, these two. Again, these two.
Rent a graphic novel, guys.
I like these two when they're enemies better, but whatever.
Ugh, okay, that doesn't feel right.
Sometimes your anger can lead to passion or some bullshit like that.
I didn't know Cyclops and Storm hooked up.
Or they just did a cover to, entice. Apparently, Cyclops hooked up with a lot of people. Here's a cool one with Iceman and Mystique. And then it just, always got to say fuck you to the haters. There's the last one. First gay wedding in Marvel, as opposed to first gay character. I'm just going to show off while I'm here, because I have a second stack that's similarly related. I also collect these.
Oh, one of my faves.
A lot of people think this is the original, but this actually is predated, I believe, by this one. So you got the suitcase, and you've got a character in the foreground leaving characters in the background. That's kind of the loose rules I use for collecting these.
As long as they have luggage.
I gotta have a bag of some sort. Apparently, I also have that unsigned in a newsstand. Oh, poor Jubilee. Now, Wolverine does not have luggage, but he's got claws down to his knees. So
I don't know. Is he leaving?
I like this play on the whole thing, right? Everybody's leaving with luggage. Nobody's there to see Wolverine leave. Yeah. I think this is Jen next, leaving the X-Men in the background. Here's a Gen 13. Now we start to get really wacky. Here's a Star Trek. Betty Page.
Oh.
Justice League Europe. I don't know if this fits, but I'm going to put it there. Now we get the really, really, really bad 90s art of Image. And here is Freak Force. That is Dart, apparently. Noble Causes. One of my favorites. Evil Ernie. Star-Lord. And we got the pink back. Buffy. Eros and Psyche.
I want to see the Buffy again. Did they even imitate the Toys R Us banner on the top? No?
Yeah, the colors.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, they even imitated that. Okay.
Well done. Good eye. Good eye. Eros and Psyche. And then the most recent one I found, which I really like because I really like Crush as a character. But I thought that one was pretty cool, too.
Well, there's a new Lobo series coming, and Crush will be in it.
Yay. All right. Now I'm done showing off. Those are the stacks that I had pulled.
Okay. So, who's winning so far, Rob?
You doing March Madness?
The audience. Because they're getting to see all this cool stuff where they're going, well, I don't have that. I have that. I don't have that. In fact, people watching at home, let us know what you have in the comments. Miracleman, I think you said you had a couple more.
Oh, yeah, I got a couple. Not a ton, but a couple. So, I bought this 2080. I don't normally get 2080s, but I found this in a magazine box for $1, and I think you can probably imagine why I got it. Might not be a mystery. And then, I don't have any from this run. I just found it. I didn't realize it was a Giffen. until after I brought it home. But that's the deluxe format Amethyst. That's pretty cool. And I can't believe this had to have been put in a different bag and board because there's no way on earth that anybody ever paid $14 on this book. But here is the Squarebound Hawk World, the prestige format from Tim Truman. Truman's great. I love Truman's work. He should finish the book he got paid for on Kickstarter a time ago. Somehow I didn't, Wagner and Hilliard have been doing all these serial killer books the last couple of years. They did Vinyl, and have another one come out where it's like some prom queen who murders. They did Plastic, and I never finished the first Plastic, so I have been.
There's a new series coming out.
Yeah, I know it was great. There was just a Plastic series out. That one was good. This is the only Blackest Night issue I didn't have, and for whatever reason, this is a second printing of it, and I don't.
Good to have.
Yeah, I don't know how this got a second printing. I can't imagine there were a lot of copies printed. There's the Superman number 12, just this great ass cover right there. A Superman number 3 from the Rebirth era when we still had a young John Kent. And last but not least,
we're going to de-age him.
Yes, I've heard this. Last but not least, look, the creator is a bag of dicks. But the original She stuff is actually a lot of fun. And that's just a cool cover, and because I can't finish on a book by a bag of dicks like that, I'm going to show you real quick my new pickups this week. There's only a couple. But a couple of really good books came out. Bug Wars number 2. If you're not reading Bug Wars, that first issue was great. It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, except medieval as shit. The Archie's Mr. Justice is Mr. Justice. That's issue 3. Great homage cover. A Peter Pan book called The Last Boy came out from Boom Studios this week. That was really good. The Herculoids number 2. Look, I love the Herculoids.
I love Herculoids.
I love Herculoids. You know what? I wish I would love to see Space Ghost, Herculoids. All these books, I hope they get a crossover at some point. They're doing Space Ghost Johnny Quest, which, okay, but really? The Power Fantasy number 7 came out. This is a fantastic book. I love this series. Yeah, a lot of those books were. And then JSA number 5. And JSA is top tier comics. Lemire is killing it on that book. It's a huge cast. He's really juggling it well. And I'm genuinely enjoying it. And last but not least, a couple of books I got from somebody when I was just down in Georgia. These aren't easy to come by.
Me?
Critters number 5, which is a little Fantagraphics book, right? Critters number 7, right? There's a cool little book there, a little critter-ish. Critters
like
number
Bone.
8. What's that?
He looked like Bone.
Right, he does. He does a little bit. Critters number 8, and last but not least, Dark Horse Maverick 2001 number 1 with that beautiful
nice
Usagi Yojimbo cover. And that's it. That's all I got.
All right. So does anybody have any other comics they wanted to show? No? So I guess it's me now. So I guess I can throw this into the mix of how to fix the comic industry, because we've been hearing some news lately that Todd McFarlane might wind up purchasing Diamond as a result of receivership. So yeah, probably won't happen. And yeah, this is the part of the show where we're talking about how to fix the comic industry. We don't know if we can actually fix anything. We're just a bunch of comic book readers and collectors ourselves, but if there's any way that we can help, we are. So back in the day, we used to pick up stuff at local convenience stores, at supermarkets. It would be nice if we could go back to movie theaters, and when they're showing a comic movie, or even if they're not showing a comic movie, just have stuff that are either giveaways or things that are a couple bucks just to get them into fans' hands. And there's inserts on where people can go find stuff locally for other comic shops that are open. Little things like that could go a long way just to get it out into the public, because most people don't read the stuff after they go see a movie, which is unfortunate.
They don't. But most people don't read anymore. And I
True.
don't mean that like as
Derogatory.
I don't mean that in a derogatory sort of way, but things have changed. People don't read as much as they used to. Kids don't read as much as they used to. And so to go the next step past reading to comic book reading is difficult. And comic books cost $5 each now. They're more are at $4.99 than $3.99. And so it's really, really tough to get like kids to go ride their bikes, which a lot of kids don't do anymore, to a store to grab a comic and write it home and read it the way I used to when I was, 14 or 15. So
and even when we were 14 and 15, we had advertising in different media, whether it was Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, that would say, hey, this is now on sale, Crisis of Infinite Crises. And well, at least it was something. Now, when you talk to kids, what are you into? Do you like Spider-Man, Batman? I like cars. But like what? The movie Cars? No, just the cars on the road. That's my own nephews.
Yeah.
I mean, they got video games and they got phones, both of which give more immediate feedback to kids. And video games have as complex storylines now as comics did, and they have new content. I mean, I have students come up to me, say, Mr. Cha Miller, there's a new update to Marvel Rivals I'm going to be playing this weekend. Like, that's their plan for the weekend. So I don't know if it's fixable. I don't know if it has to radically change. I thought that print comics were going to go away and it was going to become digital at one point, but I'm really not sure what the full answer is.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best ways that I've been seeing, at least Image lately, they did that for Power Fantasy that was just shown. So if you're a few issues in, just putting the first issue out to read on social media and just spread the word, let them be able to read that first issue for free, and maybe for a link, put something for like a comic locator so people could find a shop near them. Where they might have to drive maybe 5 minutes or 5 hours, at least show where there are comic book stores, because most average people don't know where they can even find a book. They still assume they can go to the grocery store, and no, that's just the magazine aisle. No comics there. Walmart was doing it for a short period of time, but that lapsed pretty quickly. But otherwise, I mean, how about Cracker Barrel? I just saw a YouTuber talking about that. I mean, even Cracker Barrel has an area where it's just knick-knack weird shit that you can buy. Let's see what C. Woodard says. There are more video games, movies, shows, comics, etc. than ever to consume. That is absolutely true. It's very hard to stand out in 2025. And even video games for right now, where we're seeing Marvel Rivals that are getting large amounts of people that are playing it, talking about it. I mean, comic stores, if they wanted to cater to the average normal person, maybe they'd put something like value packs where anybody that's inside these Marvel Rivals games, they could sticker the books where it's, the $5 a piece or 3 for $10, just to blow out the inventory instead of trying to charge the most amount of money possible for things that will just sit there. I mean, otherwise you could maybe designate an area for where there's characters from a latest movie, even though most people don't look for the movie stuff because they just go for the movie and that's it. It's over. But when they're watching the video games, they just want to see what are the characters all about. Jeff the Land Shark, very few appearances, but at least you could throw a couple of those reprints out there just to get people interested in the medium. Because if we don't have new blood, forget the gatekeepers. They suck anyway, but we need new blood. If we don't get new blood, this hobby of ours will eventually go away.
Yeah, I don't know, because like Marvel Rivals, right? Those books have blown up, but not amongst new fans that are into video games. Just comic collectors are collecting them because they think, everybody's talking about this, but there's not a lot of new people coming in and saying, I got to get this Marvel Rivals, these comics. So it's difficult.
Well, they could even co-opt fast food joints, where I remember back in the 1980s, McDonald's would even hand out little comics that even today probably aren't worth anything. But if Marvel and DC could co-opt it, I mean, their biggest problem is advertising, period. They expect the average writer and artist that are usually introverts anyway to be their own advertising machine. And I'm not talking about the smaller companies. I'm talking about goddamn Marvel and DC that basically pay minimum wage and sometimes even less to their own creators that are making the stuff. Chances are most of the people watching here make more money than the average comic book writer and artist, which is sad for how much that we adore this stuff, how much they're charging for the stuff, but they're expecting their own people to do their own advertising. They could co-opt YouTubers, TikTokers, whole bunches of people that are successful, make the product. But if they don't even do that, which costs nothing, but they're not even doing that. For Simon Baz.
Yeah, I think James Gunn did it with his. Every time he brings up a story, a book went up, right? Or a book started to sell. He would talk about a story, a book would start to sell. Amazon would sell out, or comic shops would sell out, and DC seems to have gotten better about that, about now making sure the book's on the shelf. But for the longest time, DC was horrible. Every time they'd have a movie come out, there was no special. There was no Aquaman book when Aquaman came out.
There's a word for it. It's called synergy. Whenever there's a new movie coming out or a new TV show, they would try and have a first issue, but instead it would either be 3 or 4 months too early or 2 or 3 months too late. Or they're in the middle of a run that's doing really well, and nope, we're going to cancel that and reboot it with a new issue #1 that has nothing to do with the movie coming out.
Right. And they didn't seem to be able to line those up. And Marvel, frankly, was doing a lot better with that. Now it seems like it might be switching a little bit. DC, they really seem to be making the plans. This summer, when the Superman movie comes out, they're doing a series of Superman covers. There's going to be books out so there's going to be a Supergirl special with Crypto in it. They seem to be catching on to, hey, maybe we should market the primary product when these ancillary products that do, we hope, $1 billion come out. So maybe we pick up some more fans of the primary product. It does seem like maybe they're catching on. Maybe that's James Gunn. Maybe that's Gunn going, hey, you know what? Every time I put out a movie, I want you guys to have a comic. Maybe not. I'm sure he doesn't have any direct influence on that.
Do you remember Spaceballs?
Yep.
I sure do.
Your squatch is bigger than mine.
Exactly. Remember the scene when they're going through, and I'm trying to remember the character's name. He was basically Yoda. They're going through his cave as he's going through all the different product placements, but because it was Star Wars, they weren't actually allowed to make these products. But this was basically the summary of what 80s movies were about. It's fun that we're making this movie and all, but we're making it for product placement. So here's the Star Wars flamethrower. Make the synergy happen. Have the product available at the same time. Have it up for Amazon. Have it up for comic shops to order for FOC so that when the release date is approaching, it's available for the masses. So they're not going, okay, I just saw the movie. I'm going to the comic shop because I really want a t-shirt, and the t-shirts are coming in August. It's March. Well, people aren't going to give a shit when it's like August.
Right.
Timing is everything. And if you can't get that synergy, which they haven't had for decades, I mean, really, how hard is it to get somebody that can get that manufacturing so you can get it from publisher out to the fans?
Yeah.
Well, looks like we ran to the end of the show now. So with that, is there any appearances coming up that anybody's having? I know last week, Tacoma, you were on the whale auction. Did that go well for you?
Yes. I gave my LCS an ungodly amount of money yesterday in cash, and he was super cool. I said, hey, I can give you X amount, and if you were talking 17, could you do 1,600 on this? And he's like, hey, if you're going to pay me that much up front, I could do 1,500. So book looks to be an 8.0 GSX one. Needs clean and a press, but I think I'm getting a good deal, and I'm just needed 300 more. So I'll be on Strictly's tomorrow at 5:30. Not Strictly's Comics anymore. It's Astonishing Auctions. They've changed their channel. Sub them up. I will be selling books and hopefully making up that last 300 and getting my GSX one.
What's it called again? Astonishing
Auctions, I think. Let me look it up, and I can drop a linky dink.
The Saturday, and it usually starts at about 8:30. I'm just trying to put the little
5:30. Yep.
banner up so people can at least see that if they're not paying too close of attention. Oh, banner up. And if you drop a link in the chat, I'll throw that in there. And Michael, do you have anything coming up?
Comics.
Astonishing.
Rob, I'm glad you asked. I have nothing coming up.
All right, Astonishing Comics. There it is. Let me just click on the right one. Don't miss Astonishing Comics this Saturday. It should start usually about 8:30, but sometimes it's about 9. They're never on time. It's been that way for like a decade, which is fine. We all love the show, but check out Astonishing Comics, not Strictly Comics. It might be COMIX. We'll make sure next week that we have the proper links.
I got it
Michael,
right there.
You got nothing coming up.
Nothing. My life is empty.
Mine too, except for work. I was telling everybody just prior to coming live that last week my brain was popping like a crazy person because I had 3 days of trial in Key West. So I had to stay there for 3 days, and I came home for Thursday for a nothing job. Friday I had to drive back out to Key West, but I'm texting the group going, hey, I'm seeing a haze out here. I think something's on fire. Well, here is the link. It wasn't fire, or actually it was fire, because what wound up happening on Monday, we started getting the notifications that they had to shut down something called Card Sound Road because there's only 2 ways in and out to the Keys. So they started showing some video of the fire, and then fast forward to Tuesday. Hey, Rob, can you go down for a 9 a.m. hearing on Tuesday? Yeah, sure. Drive out in the middle of the night. I did see some fire off in the distance, but I went, well, I guess it's not too bad. I'm driving back home. The hearing was from 9 a.m. until 10:30. I didn't get home until 3 in the morning because they cut off all access. So I was stuck 8 miles back waiting to get back in to Miami. And then when I finally was coming in about 1 in the morning, I'm seeing off on the side of the road like police and fire where they are hosing off our vehicles to keep them cooler because we were seeing fire on both sides of the road. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to take any video. Let's just get the fuck home. Fun times in Florida. Hurricanes I'm used to. Tornadoes, maybe. Hail.
At least you weren't flying into a Heathrow yesterday. Shut down the whole airport.
What happened?
Explosion.
There was a fire by a electrical substation or something, and so they had to shut down the entire airport for a day.
Yeah, there was no electricity going in, so they couldn't do anything. Fun times.
We in Canada, we just have planes landing on their tops. That's all we do.
We just have them falling out of the sky. I mean, welcome to America 2025. But on that note, I want to thank everybody for coming and watching the show. I want to thank Mike, Miracleman, and Tacoma for coming tonight, showing their awesome books. We'll be back next week on March the 28th. Same day, same time, Old Comic Book Day. And it will probably be, since it's the end of the month, Women's History Month. So do check that out as we show our comics then. But until then, thank you all so much for coming. Love you all. Rule number 1, don't die. Love you. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.